Hey, what's going on everyone? My name is Destructions. Thanks for tuning in, and welcome to another Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 commentary, where I talk about things on my life and what's on my mind. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been reflecting on how I grew over the past year or so, my attitudes, my self-image, etc. And I realized that there was one common thread that really allowed me to take myself to the next level. That thing was confidence, and the subtle art of not giving a shit, and how it especially relates to higher stake interactions, such as interviews. You know, this thing took me 3 years to learn this and realize this, but when I did, it was so beautiful and powerful. In this video, I wanted to share how I started acing interviews, and how I was able to break through a plateau with confidence. In the background are 7 m.o.a.b streaks. The first one's going to be a 19 on a hard hat, the second one's going to be a 22 on a hard hat, the third one's going to be a 20 on underground. The fourth one's going to be a 20 on village. The fifth one's going to be a 22 on outpost. The sixth one is going to be a 23 on bootleg. And the seventh one is going to be a 22 on terminal. To tell you the truth, I've been putting off this commentary for a long time because I didn't really know how to package it. I started writing this commentary back in May, but I didn't really know how to present it for a really long time, so I thought about it. Then I realized that this commentary will probably be a little bit disjointed, and I'm okay with that. So I'm just giving you guys a little bit of a heads up. Before I begin, I do want to recognize that this topic might sound a little bit abstract for some people, and some of your experiences may be a little bit different from mine. And therefore, I might not have explained it in the best of ways. So if you have any questions, you have any concerns, please feel free to drop it down in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer them and address them. To clarify, I'm going to be talking about confidence within the context of self-confidence. According to the Oxford Languages Dictionary, it is defined as a feeling of trust in one's abilities, qualities, and judgment. Now, you probably already knew this, and you probably don't really need me to tell you this, but just telling you this won't actually impart how it's connected with acing interviews. You need this as a start, but today I want to tackle this topic from the perspective of the subtle art of not really caring about what other people think of you. That you are secure in your true self and appreciate what you bring to the table. That doesn't mean that you should ever aggrandize yourself. You still need to be humble about your abilities and recognize your strengths and weaknesses. But today I wanted to flesh this out and really talk about the intricacies of this topic. So why am I talking about this? Why is this important? First, a little bit of background about me. When I was in college, I was singularly focused on getting into med school. And I did all these things, extracurricular activities. I took these classes that were relatively easy, but gave me the foundations for medical school education. And then I did well in them. And then I sought out all these activities that would help me to improve my application and all that stuff. And while in college, I kind of looked up to other people who were applying for med school, who were accepted into med school, and med students and residents. And I saw them as above me in my career trajectory. So I try to learn everything I can from them. Any experiences, any wisdom, any perspectives that would really help me to craft my application later on. At the same time, I knew my strengths and weaknesses as a student, and I was more or so focused on my weaknesses and trying to overcome them. But I think when I focused on that too much, it gave me a sense of inferiority. I developed this inferiority complex and inadequacy complex where I viewed myself as a loser or a failure because I didn't get into med school yet. Back then, I realized I put a lot of personal goals on hold because, I wanted to first get into med school or first have a really stable trajectory for my career before I consider all these other things. When I started interviewing for medical school admissions, I was under the impression that we as applicants need to get into the minds of the interviewers, guess what interviewers were looking for, and deliver them during the interview. Basically, the purpose of the interview was a mind game where we must say what they want to hear, make them happy, and kiss up to them. And that was on top of knowing our application, knowing what the school wants, knowing myself, and just being able to present yourself in a good way, which was a lot to demand for. Preparing for those interviews made me think of myself as lesser than my interviewers in some way, because I was trying to gain admissions to their school and start a career in medicine, and they've already made it, or they are on their way to making it as a doctor. And some people told me that for a successful interview, you just got to make the interview. And some people told me along the way, while I was preparing for them, that the interviews are really about making other people feel good. And so when they write you up for an admissions review, they're going to remember how they felt during your interview, and they will speak of you positively or negatively based on that feeling. So I practiced all these interview strategies to cover all my bases in my answers and show over-the-top interest to the school and my interviewer. I tried to learn mind games. For example, guessing what they'll try to ask next, how to surmise their opinions, how to correct my answer when I sense that they don't agree with what I'm saying, how to lead my conversations to something that I want to talk about. All of these little techniques. And this was on top of learning how to talk about myself, my application, how much I love their school, how my goals and their goals aligned, etc. Well, to put it long and short, that didn't really lead to great results. And that wasn't just for one cycle, not for 2 cycles, but for 3 cycles. Pretty much every school that I interviewed at waitlisted me. Not outright rejections, but no acceptances either. So over those years, over time, I got anxious, restless, and more neurotic. I felt that this goal of mine that I've been working for so long was slipping away from me. I asked myself, what did I do wrong? What parts of my application need work? Do people just not like me? Do people not like the type of person I am? What kind of things could I have done to make myself more appealing? And all these questions really festered in my head for a really long time. And with all these negative results, these wait lists, I was about ready to quit and do something else entirely with my life. And then came the New York University Long Island School of Medicine interview invitation. To give you a little bit more about the school, it is a new medical school in Long Island, New York, that allows for a full tuition scholarship. So this means that you would go there for free if accepted and matriculated. So you wouldn't have to pay anything out of pocket for the tuition. They'll give you a stipend for room and board and everything else. So it was a great deal. And you only need to do 3 years instead of the normal 4 years at most medical schools. But they only have 24 students per class, and they interview 400 plus applicants per year. So if you do the math, I knew that the odds were very abysmal. So I kind of just treated it like a vacation. I told myself I wouldn't count this as an interview, that I was just there to know people and the school, to make friends, to show myself, just to have fun, and not care at all about the results. Because the results ultimately don't matter to me, because they were so selective, even among US medical schools. I also found that there was a Dance Dance Revolution machine about 15 minutes from the school. So this interview opportunity was basically an excuse for me to go there and play DDR. And I ended up doing both. So I did the interview in the morning and the afternoon, and then I played DDR in the evening. And it was an amazing trip. The school impressed me, the people impressed me, the faculty impressed me. But there was one thing about this trip that will stay for me forever. The best thing about this trip was how the interview turned out. I felt great. I felt uninhibited. I felt at ease. And from those things that I gained confidence and power in the interview. I felt for the first time that I could be at peace with my accomplishments, knowledge, skills, experiences, strengths, weaknesses, and aspirations. I didn't really give a shit about what they thought of me because I didn't need their acceptance. I didn't need their approval. I didn't need to kiss up to them. And that was self-confidence that I've been missing for so long, that I've been searching for so desperately all those years. It wasn't all the techniques on how to interview, how to talk to other people, how to guess what they want, how to lead into a different conversation that you're trying to guide into, trying to respond favorably, etc. When I didn't give a shit about what they were going to do with how I presented myself, that gave me power. That allowed them to respect me. And from that day on, I have found much more success in my own interviews, whether it be PhD programs, job interviews, and most importantly, the acceptance that got me to where I am today. Because at the end of the day, You can't control what other people think of you. You can't control what other people do, but you can control yourself. And that's all you really need to focus on, is yourself. So at the end of this video, what I want you guys to take away from this video is, you know your CV already. You know your resume. You know your accomplishments, your knowledge, skills, experiences, strengths, weaknesses, aspirations. I want you to be confident in them. Basically everything that's on your CV. I know that every one of you watching this video is capable of presenting yourself in the best light. So you don't need that much more training in this regard. You'll just do it in the interview. Trust yourself. Now it's time to let go and just let all those things out there. What your interviewer does, how your interviewer reacts, is ultimately a measure of their character, of their upbringing, and their biases. You cannot control them. You cannot control what they do, how they react, what they'll say, what they'll think. So stop worrying about these things. Approach every interview with humility and confidence, and never view an opportunity or an interview as a life or death situation. We are continually improving. We do have weaknesses. People will accept your weaknesses. So all it really matters is that the next stage in our lives, whether it be a school, a job, something for your career, we are trying to improve. And good interviewers, any credible interviewer, will actually take that and value that, because that is what makes us human. There's no perfect candidate. The perfect candidate doesn't exist. It's a lie. And at the end of the day, you don't need them as much as they need you. Now, I do recognize that some of the things I said in this last couple of minutes might sound a little paradoxical. And it was very paradoxical to me when I first learned of the fact and realized this. But trust me, when you realize this, when you start letting go, when you stop thinking about what other people think of you, people will respect you and you'll get better results. That's it for today's commentary. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions, have any concerns, please drop it down in the comment section below. I'll try to answer them. I'll see you on the next one.
Is it 10?
Heads up, enemy UAV spotted. Losing Bravo. We lost Bravo. Friendly.
I don't know.
Securing Charlie.
15?
Positions.
16? Let him have B. Let him have something. 17.
We've lost the lead. We've taken the lead. UAV online. Tactical insertion prevented. Secure.
I played a little too passively, whatever. I don't care. I honestly don't care if I fucking die at this point. At this point,
Good job.
I was on a damn streak, bro. I was on a fucking streak. For sure. And the fucking game just ran out. Oh. I started the streak really late. Really late. Oh my gosh.